October. There's a chill in the air, the leaves are changing, the days are shorter, the nights longer, and as a sports fan, it's the best time of the year. But behind all of the excitement, there's something sinister that has haunted college football for decades now. Something lurking across every campus in the country. Something that, even after all of these years, still has the power to keep you up at night and has you checking twice under the bed before you turn the lights out. And no, I'm not talking about Ashton Genty, although to be fair, the guy is terrifying. No, today we're talking about something else, and that something is old college football mascots. Welcome back to the channel, everyone, and for today's video, 'tis the season to be spooky. We're going to be looking at the scariest college football mascots of all time. And to be fair, some of these mascots are genuinely terrifying. Like, there needs to be an actual horror film made about some of these mascots because it's a lot scarier than what Hollywood has been putting out nowadays. And as I was going through the different pictures online, this was a nationwide occurrence. Hardly any school is immune from these sinister pictures from the past. It almost seems intentional, like there was a competition to decide who could produce the most fever dream inducing mascot. And not every single school is going to be included in this list. I have about 20 different mascots to go through and some honorable mentions. But for the sake of the video, I just kind of compiled the scariest and also just the most interesting. And we're gonna be ranking them from least to most terrifying of the bunch. So let's dive right in. Coming in at number 20, we have the Ohio State Buckeye, and I've dubbed this guy the Ohio State Villager because if anyone's played any of the OG Animal Crossing games, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Like, this might actually have been inspiration for the character design in the video game. And they did have some slightly creepier variations over the years, but this one was just more lovable and nostalgic for me more than anything. So it's coming in for me at number 20. Next up at 19, UNC. And this appears to be a picture of Tar Heel Tim in action. My first reaction is, what are we doing, UNC? I know this was like 50 years ago, but I still want to know who was responsible for approving this. I like the creativity with the foot and the Tar Heel and the history behind all of that, but the execution, on the other hand, not great. Maybe it was better in person. I mean, a lot of these, the black and white film pictures do a lot of heavy lifting. But looking back on this picture from today, this is wrong for so many reasons. Not too scary, just wrong. Moving on to Texas Tech, and this one actually isn't as scary either as it is just funny to look at. The first thing that came to my mind when I saw this picture was that prospector from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, that stop motion movie back in the day. He definitely looks mischievous. Not too creepy or scary compared to what's ahead, but I had to include it on this list. It's just too good. And this black and white picture of the Red Raider mascot is a little bit creepier, might be just the lighting, but still more funny than anything else. Next up is Michigan State, and this is a school that has one of the best mascots in the country today, but they still can't hide the past. And this picture is an absolute abomination compared to what their mascot is today. I mean, was this really easier to execute than just throwing a guy into a Spartan costume? I mean, you'd think just give a guy a sword and a shield and a Spartan helmet and he's good to go. But nah, instead of that, let's go ahead and strap one of our students to a 5-foot tall paper mache Spartan head. I find it hard to believe that this guy was actually walking around the stadium like this, but I guess crazier things have happened. Next up, we have James Madison, which kind of confirms a running theory of mine, which is that these mascots were designed specifically to scare children. And in this picture, this mascot isn't the scariest by any means, but just the fact that he's towering over 2 little girls in this picture is crazy work in my opinion. You couple that with the devious smile that he has on his face, and you can tell just this dog is just up to no good. Coming in at number 15, we have Arizona Wildcats, and in my opinion, this is less of a wildcat and more of a werewolf, and just the way he's looking at Mickey Mouse just makes me a little unsettled. Those eyes alone are just telling me he's plotting something dark and twisted behind that mask, and I wouldn't want to be anywhere near this mascot on a full moon. There's just way too many things that rub me the wrong way about this picture, and I love it. Next up, we have Oski from Cal, and this is one of the few mascots that's actually survived this dark era of college football. And for me, it's that single line smile that's the most unsettling. I can't trust it. It just looks like there's dark thoughts that lie behind those eyes. And I need to know what he's hiding behind his back in this picture. There's just something about this guy that rubs me the wrong way. I know he's kind of a fan favorite, especially with Cal fans, but for me personally, I do not want to be in a room alone with him. At the number 13 spot, we have Nebraska. And this is another one of those instances where The idea might have been better than the finished product. And the big problem with this mascot is something that schools have learned over the years. Just avoid the black voids for eyes altogether. Some pupils go a long way with making these mascots look less possessed. Although I do think that Nebraska could possibly pull off the cornhead mascot today. I mean, Herbie Husker isn't bad, but I kind of want to see what they can cook up again with the cornhead concept. This version, absolutely not, but with other teams we've seen that over the years they get less demented, so I think they could do something cool. Next up at 12 we have Texas A&M, and like I just said, black holes for eyes just give any mascot, no matter who it is, a plus 1,000 on the fear meter. And I don't know exactly why, but the chin strap that he has coming down the side of his face just makes it look like he has multiple faces throughout the head. And it reminds me of the mayor or whatever from Nightmare Before Christmas. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I don't trust this guy at all. Please put some pupils on your mascots. Anyways, moving on. And at 11, we have Tennessee, which this is one of those mascots that I can't fully explain why I'm left so uneasy by it, but I just am. I mean, the picture on the left here 100% looks like a serial killer dressed up in a dog costume, scouting out his next victim. And if I saw this guy walking around the shadows of Neyland Stadium, I'm immediately looking for the next exit. They just need to stick with the actual dog for the mascot. No more of these humanoid dog mascots that's just creepy, and it's just outside of the top 10 for me. So from here on out, fair warning, this is purely nightmare fuel. If you need to pause the video, go get a blanket, cover your eyes, feel free to do so, but let's dive right in. At number 10, we have Kansas State, and this is one of those mascots that to this day is still lurking around the campus in Manhattan. Granted, on their part, it was a smart move to move away from the lifeless yellow eyes and the flesh-ripping mouth. I'm surprised they didn't put some kind of foam coming out, because this cat is 100% rabid. And even though today's version of the mascot is a bit more domesticated, it's still always a little bit unsettling to see a massive animal head on a human body. I love this mascot for all the wrong reasons. That's why I put it at 10. At number 9, we have Purdue, and right away, absolutely not. I do not trust this mascot with a sledgehammer for 1 second. Those wandering, shifty eyes like he's scoping out his next victim. I have no idea what Purdue was thinking. Actually, now that I'm saying that, to this day, they still have one of the creepiest mascots in the country. If there are any Purdue fans watching this video, let me know what you guys think about today's mascot. This one back in the 50s or 60s, or I don't know when this was. This one genuinely might keep me up at night. At number 8, we have Oregon. Arguably one of the most beloved mascots in the game, has a sinister past. I think for me, it's just the black, soulless eyes and the slouched over demeanor. It just looks like at any moment he's gonna burst to life with some bad intentions. Definitely could be introduced as a character for Five Nights at Freddy's. It looks like they have him out on display right now, but this needs to be locked away in a cellar for good. Coming in at number 7, this list would not be complete without Wichita State. This one is a classic, probably one of the most well-known creepy mascots out there, and it's still terrorizing us to this day. This is 100% an evil supervillain planning his world domination one campus at a time. I mean, I totally understand trying to make a mascot look fierce and powerful, but why do they have to look so devious? This one's absolutely chilling. Let's move on to number 6. Coming in at number 6, we have Cosmo the Cougar. And sadly, even my beloved Cosmo was not immune to the demonic possession of the time. The face is bad enough, the crazy looking eyes, the tongue hanging out, but what sets it apart for me, and I think is what contributes to the unsettling nature of the Tennessee mascot as well, it's with these fursuits where you can clearly see that there's a human body underneath. That's when you get into serial killer territory. Luckily, Cosmo is doing much better now. It's amazing what the gym can do. I'm just hoping everyone that's in this picture didn't meet some untimely end that day. At number 5, we have Arizona State. And I mean, with a Sun Devil as your mascot, it's kind of hard not to make him look creepy. But again, does the smile have to be so menacing? It looks like people from that horror movie Smile, you know, the one that's been promoted like at the MLB games with the people sitting behind home plate. The marketing team for that movie needs to get a hold of this picture and put this on a billboard ASAP. Because this is just a classic, solidly terrifying mascot. And I actually have to respect it. At number 4, we have Virginia Tech. And this reminds me of a picture you would find in a book about mythical creatures right next to Bigfoot or the Loch Ness Monster. And the grainy quality of the picture might be doing some heavy lifting here, but regardless, if I see this walking around in the forest, I'm running for my life. But this is actually one of my favorite pictures on the list. I really need someone to come up with an urban legend about the hokey bird that haunts the forest around Virginia Tech, because this picture would just be perfect for that. Next at number 3, we have TCU, which is a pretty well-known creepy mascot. This one picture alone was enough for me to put it in the top 5. But as many know, this is only scratching the surface. This is 100% an alien mutant frog race sent to Earth to take over the world by infiltrating college football. It's the creepily long claw hands, the jutting horns, the classic soulless eyes, and apparently the kids loved it. Somehow they've been able to make this guy look less alien and less creepy over time, but these pictures will forever haunt the Horned Frog's past. All right, at number 2, we have Syracuse. My first thought is why? Syracuse really just decided to have John Wayne Gacy as their mascot back in the day? And I know for a fact that there were dozens of traumatized children at every home game that this mascot was present. We even have video of it, and it actually makes it even worse. Now, after some digging, it's likely that this wasn't an official mascot for Syracuse, because in the early 80s, they were going through some transition period with their mascots. And this could have just been a rogue actor trying to solidify something for Syracuse, which actually makes it even more terrifying. This is just a random guy dressed up as a clown at a college football game. Amazingly terrifying, and that's why I put it at number 2. Now for some honorable mentions, we have the Oklahoma State Cowboy, which to me isn't really as scary as he is just kind of a chill dude. Another honorable mention is the red-headed Illinois mascot, which I'm not sure why it was a thing, but here it is. And then I'm pretty sure this is LSU Tigers. It could be Mizzou. But yeah, those faces are pretty menacing. Last but not least, the scariest mascot in college football history, in my opinion, Alabama. What are we smoking back in the day? This actually looks like a demon summoned from the underworld running out of the tunnel ready to possess the opposing team's souls. I'm terrified it might just be the crimson color with the black hollow eyes. It's just truly stuff of nightmares. It's actually kind of impressive what they were able to achieve here, because usually in Hollywood when they reveal the monster, it kind of takes the scary out of it. But this is absolutely horrifying, and it's in broad daylight. So all I can do is congratulate Alabama on the creepiest mascot of all time. Let me know in the comment section what I missed. Thank you guys for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.